Lineage 2 is a Korean MMORPG made in Unreal Engine 2 that initially released in 2003 and over time has had a lot of success in both Eastern and Western markets. Initially, the game had a subscription fee model, but in 2011 it made the switch over to free-to-play like many other MMORPGs in the genre. Lineage 2, despite its name, is not a sequel, but rather a prequel to the popular Lineage 1 game that was released way back in 1998. The events in Lineage 2 take place a full 100 years before the events of Lineage 1. Lineage 2 sets players in a land at war between three kingdoms, creating a strong emphasis on PvP. The game features massive server-wide PvP siege battles, raid bosses, an advanced combat system with real-time tactical decisions, clans with clan halls, and pets and mounts. In today's review, we will take a look at this game to see how it's held up over time, and if it's even worth playing now. So with all that out of the way, let's get started. When we go to Chronos, it says the population's heavy. Alright, create a character screen. So we have human, elf, dark elf, orc, dwarf, Kamal, and Earthia. I'm saying that correctly. For the races. Elf.
Earthia, yeah, Earthia.
Dark elf.
Do you know if these are going to be all in the same area when your character first starts up? Do you have any idea by chance?
I believe we start at the same place. We'll find out real quick. Ah, the Kamal. Okay, now this is interesting to me. If you turn them around and look at the back, they only have one wing. So I guess these are the people who got damaged in Ion, and they end up having to come to this game.
I love the hairstyles and stuff. That's what I've always been a fan of this type.
So the Earthia are gender locked. They can only be female. Wow, that's a sexy orc.
You know, the funny thing is how old this game is trying to find a name that's not being used.
Well, the character customization is actually not half bad. There we go, pew 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 pie. So I like how it kind of shows you over there that, like for the character I selected, it's showing me that strength and constitution are kind of like my two main things I should focus on.
I'm gonna go with the wizard class, and I'm gonna be a dark elf with the intelligence.
I'm a dark elf, also an archer. Got a little cutscene.
Not bad, kid. Are you all right? Can you hear me?
What's being said does not match up with the subtitles.
Okay, I am ready.
Run past me for a second. I have you highlighted. My character is automatically following you just by clicking on you and highlighting you.
Oh, wow.
Then you gotta talk to her again to get the supplies. So here's the thing about this freaking game that a lot of people don't realize. This game, people think this is a sequel to Lineage 1. It's actually a prequel. And what's happening in the game is set 100 years before the events of Lineage 1. All right, combat training. So, being that it's a Korean MMO, they're going to start our grind relatively early.
Click the question mark icon.
These characters don't even care that we're beating the shit out of them. So now I gotta talk to Sylvan.
Got a little arrow.
Getting a couple lag spikes here about you.
No, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, are you friend of Tarthy? Yes. Good to see you, young. So the game was released in 2003, which makes it predates WoW. And I always say WoW set the bar as to what a good MMO should be. So we have no voice acting in this game, which is sad because considering how old the game is, if the game still has this kind of a freaking population, you would think they could have added it by now, you know?
Yeah, at some point they should have added it.
Defeat swarm of zombies. 30 of them.
You're definitely killing a lot quicker than I am.
Shame our kills don't count for one another.
I believe they are. Are they not adding for you? They're doing it for me.
Kill something. Let me know when you killed it.
Alright, hang on. That one I just killed.
Nope. I'm sitting at 25 at 30.
Yeah, I'm getting credit for you doing it.
Alright, done. Talk to Tarthy. Use the teleport device. Class transfer. Okay, so this is how you define your class.
Did you notice we're like level 20 already?
Seriously?
Yeah, we're level 20. Look in the very upper left.
What the fuck? That's
Nice job.
weird. Told you I knew how to power level.
Right? Are we at that point where we can create that character then, or no? I don't know.
Okay, so you can now transfer classes. Click on the transfer icon in the notifications to transfer classes. So it's a little icon that looks like a medal down there. And then you select, I guess, what your first class is gonna be.
Congratulations. You have transferred to a new class.
Okay, so I just transferred to a new class. Victory music, yay! Alright. We need to get secret material. The actual graphics of the mobs and the characters themselves are not too bad considering how old the game is. But the actual scenery, the actual landscape is just ugh.
One thing I like about this is that the map, you know, gives you a green dot of where you're at, so it makes it easy to find each other and to navigate through the city and everything, regardless of what's in there.
Huh?
So you talk to him till he teleports you, and then when you got skeletons, we got killed.
I wondered, because you were talking to that person already, that I wasn't able to. It seemed like as soon as you teleported, I was able to take my turn and walk up to that person. It literally froze me until you were able to, until you teleported. I was able to actually get closer to the person and talk to them. So the kill ratio for my one kill is like 6 of yours. So needless to say that you're the one carrying me again for when it comes to getting these quests done.
Breath of Death. They are. So weird starting an MMO and not having any aggro whatsoever.
Alright, so this is something I think that you'll find very interesting. You have your auto use supplies in your hunting box in the upper right, by chance, or like your small box where you can auto.
I dragged it down to the bottom of the screen, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily have to do. All you do is click that, and it just automatically attacks the next thing and near you and everything.
I almost died or something because my whole screen went red.
Yeah, I know. Same here.
Oh, again. All right, I got it.
I've got one more I have to get here.
I have no idea what's going on with that
It's
red
gonna be
shit,
close. I think I'm actually gonna die. I think. No, I'm not. I was close. I was so close.
Up here. One thing that annoys me already is there's no jump. Yeah, so it's not that we're dying, something's freaking happening.
Yeah, there's something going on. I gotta look at my skills real quick and look at my healing, see if I can find something. Kind of get to like a little bit like a cartoonish feeling. Do you think?
Well, this is about as good as graphics were back then. Kind of keep getting hung up on items here and there. I mean, the pathing isn't as smooth as what we're used to.
Yeah, I'm walking sometimes and I'll just stop and I can't move. Like I have to kind of back up and move around and it's like a hidden stump in the ground or something. Level 40.
Talk to Raymond. Where the fuck is Raymond? So he can tell you about a bunch of different things, but just ask him to give you the quest.
I used the first conversation, and he teleported me into some. I have to defeat one skeleton.
Okay.
And he's orange, so I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I'm glad you're here because I don't think I would have been able to do it.
Alright, return to town. Quest. Go back and talk to Tarty. A lot of busy legwork. Are we level 40?
Are we what?
Level 40?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're moving pretty quick.
Shit, we're about ready for raid dungeons.
Right?
Alright, second class transfer. Yeah, looks like they just want to get everybody leveled up quick.
Congratulations. You have transferred to a new class.
Alright. I am now a blade dancer.
I'm looking and I still don't have any type of heal class or anything like that. Oh, actually, this looks. No, we're getting there, I guess. A little bit over time, I'm getting here.
I got the quest. She just teleported me to Windy Hill.
This reminds me a lot of EverQuest 1. Having static mobs just kind of blotted all together in one area like this.
Weird. So I learned like every skill I possibly could, and they're mostly like passive. I don't see any like new active skills I can just like drag to my bar and start using. Anyway, we got to destroy 30 of these guys now. Welcome world to the introduction of Korean grind.
It's a good thing they don't aggro.
I kind of wish I did because I don't feel like we're in any danger at all, you know?
Yeah.
You remember when you were a kid, the clowns you would blow up that had the weighted sand at the bottom, and you would punch them and they would just kind of bounce backwards and then come back up? They were, you know, you had to blow them up, but they had the weighted bottom. That's what I feel like I'm fighting right now. It's just a bunch of these freaking random clowns. 30 of them put into a freaking room together. None of them are gonna hurt you.
Well, I gotta go back to, I'm back at the castle again, so I gotta run back.
Oh, that time you killed them before I did.
No, actually I died. So I did. I died. So I gotta find my way back.
Now be a little bit more careful this time. This was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I accidentally hit an AoE, so I had like 5 of them hit me, and so I had to run away for a second before I died again. Not gonna lie, it does bring a little bit of a nostalgia playing EverQuest and playing this game. It's very similar, just the way that everything feels, like the vast, wide open plain, like just very bland landscape, but then just clumped up masses of mobs just static waiting for you and everything.
All right. Eradicate the fear rattle. Well, these little buggers are tough.
I'm glad that one of us is on melee, because this would be all night long just trying to kill 30 people. This would have been brutal if you had 2 players in the group.
This puts the grind at a whole new level for me.
Now kill this thing. Kill this thing. Oh, jeez. For the record, I am trying to carry my own weight with you here. But we just know where my place is at here, so.
What did I say that last review? Oh yeah, you learn to choose your class better.
Yeah. Well, I always play the support class. Oh, I always play a healer just in case. So I don't know. Maybe in the future I might just have to play a melee class only or something.
Yeah, I'm saying for the purpose of doing a short review, you might want to do something that has a little bit more combat to it.
Yeah.
A little bit more muscle.
Yeah.
I wonder if the scrolling combat text was in the game at the very beginning, because it's actually well done, and I've seen AAA games where the scrolling combat text wasn't as good as what we're seeing right here. I mean, this is kind of basic, but some of the AAA titles can't even get the basic right. Alrighty. That's part of the reason why I pause. If I talk while running, my guy pauses. So yeah, there's definitely some optimization that was never put into this game. These guys are actually cool looking. I have no idea what the hell they're supposed to be, but they're pretty cool looking. Oh, look how shabby that water looks.
I know. I was just gonna say that. Glistening.
Whoa. Teleporting. Corrupted energy.
You know, at one point you're gonna look back, and it might even be this situation here that you appreciate the fact that you got a clerk in the group. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, so the stuff we're looking for drops off of these guys, but not every guy drops it.
You know, if you had just one big missile silo, you would take out all of them in one big shot, right?
I'm telling you. Or a big tank and just run them over.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, the game crashed? Are you f***ing kidding me? Seriously? Fuck. Alright guys, I'm going to start off by at least saying that I really wished that I had had a chance to try this game back when it had released, when it came out. I really could kick myself in my own ass for missing playing this freaking game back then, because a lot of people really do seem to like this game for a plethora of different reasons. Anyway, we're going to start our scoring off with graphics, and I base my decision on graphics on two different things. Pretty much 50% of that being the land, the buildings, the environment, and the other 50% of that being the actual characters and the mobs in the game. As far as the characters and the mobs go and everything, for a game this old, they don't look half bad running on the Unreal 2 engine. Pretty solid there. So, you know, I'll give them a full 5 right there. But as far as that environment goes, it's shown its age. It's the landscape itself to me looks like something out of RuneScape. The water to me was just atrocious. And again, that was the best for the time. So I'm gonna give like maybe a 1 for the environment part of it. So I'm gonna give graphics a total of a 6.
As for graphics, I've been playing EverQuest for over 20 plus years with EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2. And I was very accustomed back then at how everything looked. And even now, I really didn't feel offended by this. So with someone that was coming into as not knowing anything about this game and viewing the graphics, yes, there are some sections where you feel that, yeah, it's very dated, but then you are seeing new addition of areas or new content that you actually see mobs that are updated and look really cool. So you can see how they're really putting their best foot forward to really improve those things. And so for me, I really enjoyed it. I don't think anybody would have a problem, at least to me. I would give it a 7, give it a fairly high one for that.
All right, and that brings us to sound and music. Sound, I don't think was anything to write home about. It served its purpose well. It was good for the era. But nothing that just made you like, wow, would you listen to that? Nothing in that sense. Music also was just kind of, it wasn't intrusive. It didn't annoy you, but at the same time, you kind of really didn't even notice it was there because it just was uneventful, I guess would be the term I would have to go with. In a lot of games, when you go from zone to zone or the action starts to get a little bit heavier, the music kind of changes, and you don't, like I said, you don't really notice that in this game. In fact, for the most part, I didn't even realize, or you would forget that the music was even playing for the most part because it was just so very low keyed. Sound and music, I'm gonna go with a 5.
I think for myself, I completely agree with you that I think that the music to me didn't really set the tone for the environment, and if we got into certain fights, you know, it didn't really like change up to make a big difference for me. So I'm gonna go with the same thing. So I'm gonna go with 5 also.
All right, next we have a story, and there was a story to be found here. However, I believe they could have done a lot better with it. Here's what I mean by that. The quest givers would give you a quest to go kill 30 of these mobs. The next quest giver would give you a quest to go kill 30 of these mobs. The quests that they were giving you really had nothing to do with the story, but however, you would get to a certain point when you would go into a closed off instance And that had everything in the world to do with the story, complete with cinematic cutscenes, complete with characters that were explaining why you were doing this fight and everything. So it wasn't like they integrated the story into the typical Korean grind of this game. It was like you were either partly in the story or you were grinding, and they were kept very separate, at least in my viewpoint. Story, I'm gonna go ahead and give a 5.
To me, I felt the story lackluster. I didn't really get involved. I didn't really feel drawn in towards it. So I really wasn't really impressed by it in my opinion. So I'm actually going to give it a 4.
Next we had combat, which I really honestly I have a hard time scoring this one because, for one, I don't feel like my character was ever in danger. I don't feel like I was ever taking damage at all. I didn't feel like I was ever gonna die. And at the same time, hell, let's throw in an even easier mode and have a freaking autoplay option, or I mean an auto attack option to make it even freaking easier. Combat to me was just really kind of lackluster, and it hadn't, again, this predates World of Warcraft. It predates freaking Terra. It predates all the MMOs that kind of really flushed out what a good combat system is. So again, I was not really entirely impressed with the combat in this particular game, and the fact that I really honestly don't think it needed to have an easy mode freaking added to it. So combat, I'm gonna go only with a 4.
I'm a little bit torn on this. I love the fact that you can auto hunt, and the only reason why I'm saying is for me, I've never experienced that before. This is the first game that I've ever experienced an auto hunt, and so for me, it was actually kind of fun that I can click a button and let it just I can sit back and just watch the animations and do the attacks. And to me, it was like a novelty type thing. It was just intriguing. It was fun to watch, but I would imagine if you're playing this for years on end, it could get really boring. Then again, if I'm assuming, and I don't know if I'm correct on this, they could be doing this to combat the bots, maybe that they could have had a program where it's automatically just doing this stuff, and so they said, well, if they're doing it, then we might as well just go ahead and implement something to even the playing field. I don't know, but to me, I really enjoyed the combat. Some of the animation was really cool. I guess I'm gonna go with the 5, honestly.
All right, and that's gonna bring us to gameplay. Well, I had issues with there was pathing issues. From the way I understand it, WASD keys were not initially part of the game when it first released, and I guess it became standard later, and then later when it became standard, they kind of added it into the game. Okay, great, but the game is this old and they haven't really gone back and fleshed it out. So WASD keys do not work as well as they should. You're constantly stubbing your toe into an invisible pebble that's on the ground that you can't see, and you have to back up 2 steps and go around it, and that's constantly happening throughout the game, and it gets quite annoying quite fast. Another thing is, it's an older freaking engine, and I'm playing it on newer hardware, and sometimes older software does not play well with newer hardware, and in my case, it did not play well. I received my first blue screen of death that I had seen in years, literally years. So that was kind of a freaking bummer, it really kind of pissed me off to say the least, but you reboot, you log back in, and you continue where you left off. But gameplay to me has issues. And for a game this old, you would think it would be running a bit smoother. So I'm gonna give it a 5, and that's me being a little freaking generous here because I actually want to go lower, but it is what it is. And I just think with the time that has passed, they could have freaking improved on some of it.
I could not agree more that I think that they've had ample amount of time to fix those issues and chose not to. I think the invisible logs were annoying, and I also had fun, so I agree. I think with that, I think
I'm also gonna remind you of one thing too. We both had this freaking issue too. There was one particular quest we could not get past, and what we have to do, we didn't have to abandon that quest. We had to abandon the whole quest line and go back and do every single quest in that quest line just to get back to where we were.
And how much time did we lose just trying to backtrack all and everything too? I think that for me, I'm gonna give it a 5. That's just where I'm at.
Next, we have character creation. Character creation did not seem overwhelming or underwhelming. It was good for what it was. There was a good amount of options in there, surprisingly, and character creation to me is probably one of the better aspects of this game, if I have to be completely freaking honest, in my opinion. Character creation, I'm gonna go with a 6.
I think for me, for the time that when it was out, I'm like you said before, I really think that it was ahead of its time. With that being said, there's also enough time where they could have made a lot of more adjustments and done some things. I'm gonna give it a 7.
That brings us to population, and the server that we logged into, surprisingly, there was 2 servers available. The one that we logged into was under heavy load. I don't know what warrants a heavy load for this particular game, but the fact remains that I believe the game was 2003, and that it has a server with a heavy load on it is a testament to how many people are sticking loyal to this game after all these years. And sometimes you play that game, you invest a lot of time, you invest a lot into your character, you invest a lot of money into the game, that it's not an easy decision to just pick up and leave when the rest of your buddies leave. And it's a testament to the game itself that they actually have a thriving community that's still playing the game. Did we see many people when we were actually going around doing our quests? We saw some. Considering we were starting in the newbie area, we saw quite a bit. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and say population, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.
We didn't see too many people, but I also know that
there's a lot standing around in town.
Right. But we didn't see everything. We didn't see the end game. We didn't see all the extra content. And so for myself, I think I'm going to give it a 7. But I know that had we put more time in, I really felt that we would have seen a lot more people and in-game content and everything.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure after a game being this old and everything too, most people are sitting there in endgame doing their nightly raid dungeons. That brings us to UI and menus. I really can't fault the game too much on the UI or the menus. They're not overwhelming, but then again, by today's standards, not a whole lot has changed as far as UI and menus. So the whole user interface on the screen looked pretty much what you would expect in any MMO that you go into, and finding your options to tweak and turn down in the menu system was pretty freaking normal. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8.
I myself didn't have any frustrations whatsoever, and that's how I gauge the UI section of this. Is it in depth? Is it easy to read? Is it to follow? Is it complicated? And to me, it was easy, and I didn't have any frustrations whatsoever. So I'd imagine that anybody could be able to go to this and look at the UI and be able to understand and not have any problems. So for me, I'm actually going to give it a 9.
And that brings us to chat spam. Honestly, there was a lot of chat going on. I honestly did not take notice of any actual spam. I don't know if that's because I really wasn't looking for it, but usually that kind of stuff just kind of pops up, and especially if it's in another language, it will be like hard not to notice it. So you just kind of, your eyes just kind of zoom to that part of your screen when you start seeing all these weird characters appear. I don't recall that happening at all, but I did see a constant chat going, so the chat was being used, and I wouldn't really say it was spam. I think the community was actually really having legit discussions and talking about stuff within the game. I'm gonna give the chat spam, I'm gonna go a 9.
I agree completely. I think that the chat was not annoying. I did not see any gold spamming. I saw legitimate posts of people looking for guilds, people who are recruiting or looking for groups of a specific level and gear set, things like that. I did not find it annoying at all, and so I'm gonna give it a 9.
And finally, that brings us to our cash shop and pay to win. So we did take a look at the cash shop, and there were things like XP boosts, which are to be expected to be seen in a free-to-play game. Look, at one time you're pay to play, then you go to a free-to-play model. You need to make money somehow to keep those servers online, and it's a testament to Lineage that they've actually stayed online for as long as they have. So kudos to them. So there is XP boosts to help you level faster and everything. However, what I did not like seeing is actual pay to win, and I'm not a fan of this. I think it should not be in any game, and there's free to play games that do it right and don't have any pay to win at all. The pay to win in this game, what I saw, and I actually checked the Reddits and I actually checked some other YouTube videos, and there seems to be different things in this game that are considered pay to win. But what we noticed when we were looking in the cash shop was you could buy these armor and weapon bundles for your character. So, all of a sudden you're going to deck your character out in the best armor and the best weapon in the game. Now, granted, you could be the crappiest player in the world, and the best armor and the best weapon ain't going to make you the best player. You're still going to be a crappy player who just has the best armor and best weapons. But the fact that you can just buy it instead of working towards it, to me, is a big freaking no-no. And whenever I see actual pay-to-win mechanics, I have to go with an actual score of 0.
Being that coming from EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2, this is just normal expectations. You've got experience bonus, you got maybe mount different types of mounts that you can have, bundles that you can get, and weapons that you can get, all these different things. And so some of it can be pay for convenience, being able to get from one place to another fairly quickly, but then definitely if someone who has the money to be able to finance it can certainly get that full set of gear that can, at least if anything, they can use that to get at least into that margin of the gear set that you need to actually be able to join certain groups or dungeons where you can actually get the better gear. So I don't halt too much, because I definitely feel that sometimes gear requirements are very important in these type of games, and so for people who might be a casual player, could actually help them get themselves into a position where they can get into better gear and so forth, and this kind of gives them that step up. So I'm a little bit kind of iffy, especially with this type of this situation. So I'm just going to give it a 5, just straight in the middle, because I'm not for or against this particular, just because of this type of game.
So adding up my scores, I come up with a total of 56.
My score came to 63.
Adding those scores together gives us a total of 119. And dividing that by 2, since there's 2 of us playing, gives us a score of 59.5. Which gives us a final letter grade of with a grade of D. This game is considered below average. It is not completely horrible, and it is playable, but it falls very short in many areas, especially by today's standards. If you can overlook some of its flaws, then you might find that this game is tolerable. There are definitely better games out there to try, but if you have already tried a majority of them, then who knows, maybe this game will be that hidden treasure that will keep you entertained for a while. Anyways, that's it for our ×2 review for this game. We hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and we will catch you again on the next ×2 review.